I'm not sure if we can do it in 10, 15 minutes. Because like you said, that would be, it's different from a webinar. I love your comment, Teresa.
Yeah, I mean, just in my mind, that's what I think of. I think what they're looking for is quick, short tutorials.
Sure. Yeah. Yep.
I mean, I don't know. Nobody's commented yet, so maybe I'm wrong, but
Yeah.
Which I kind of could agree.
Oops.
Okay.
I got it. Yeah, there we go. All right. So, yeah. So what we can do is, as we just redid, to all of you that are watching this webinar, we just redid our quick guide to list perfectly. There is new videos. There is, everything is fresh, new. So we understand the need. So for more demo or instructional videos, we have it available already in our platform, top menu, help and use, and then just select the first option, guide to list perfectly. And then from there, you will see if there is quick topics. Then you decide, okay, there is quick topics, there is like long topics. We have it in videos, we have it in text, because we understand everybody's different. Sometimes you're in your phone and you just want to read, you're in a public place, you don't have headsets, so we understand that. And we just redid this. So all the help that could be available for a more in-depth instructional video, just go to our platform, right, Mandy?
Yep. And we are constantly adding new content for everyone. So that's definitely been a frequently requested topic, more content.
Yes, definitely. And another thing that they asked us was, we tend to, I tend to talk too much, and maybe you get a little too geeky. So they didn't say that, but let's help each other. Okay. Yeah. So what they said, they wanted more simple talk. Okay. Oh, let's go with the microphone. Yep. Can you hear us well, Teresa?
That's much better than when you guys are sitting back.
Wait, hang on. I'm going to plug
it,
in.
Mandy.
Yeah.
Let me do it.
Thank you.
No problem. How's your back to it?
It's all right.
Yeah. Oh,
I was like, wow, fine.
Like you mean it.
Green has it. It's hurting. Finally, it's always me having problems. My back, my hands, my elbow, my shoulder. She's always fine. Finally, she has a little problem in the back end. Of course, she does one naproxen and she's fine.
Yeah. Seems like
I just have this headache I've got this muscle right here. I think I slept wrong on my pillow, but it'll go away.
Yep. I highly recommend cervical pillows, worth every penny for those of us, especially resellers, having a cervical pillow because we're doing data entry. Ergonomic keyboards, forget about the fancy schmancy keyboards, get an ergonomic keyboard, and a nice chair with a headrest. I'm all about ergonomics. It'll change your life. Yep. Still in time. Hey, Lorna joined us in YouTube. Hi, Lorna. We're happy to have you here.
So,
awesome.
Yeah, so today, it's going to be a quick webinar. We're just going to cover some best practices with image management. Yeah. And just have a couple little short demos to show, and we'll open it up for your questions.
All right.
Yeah.
All right. Sounds good. So shall we get started? Let's see. It's 11:06. We have 9 watchers in YouTube. We have, I think, 4 people here in a Zoom. I would say this is looking good. Let's get started. So Mandy, we're going to talk about first image management best practices.
Right.
So, oh, look at you getting ready. All right. Yep. Okay, she's getting ready. I'm sorry. She's getting ready. Okay. So what we're going to be talking about today is we understand that many of our users are sometimes native to Poshmark, native to eBay, native to certain marketplaces. So you will face with List Perfectly options such as cross-posting directly from marketplaces or cross-posting through List Perfectly. And the difference when it comes to image management is abysmal, okay? So marketplaces, we're gonna be talking about what does it happen when I'm managing? Okay, one thing is to manage 2 channels, okay, but what happens when you're cross-posting now to 4 or 5 channels? So what are the best practices? What do we recommend, Amanda, for example, when it comes to taking pictures, whether you're doing it with a camera, point and shoot camera, or you're doing it with a phone? What do I do?
So first of all, you want to minimize the amount of work that you have to do to prepare your images for platforms. So we always recommend start with your camera settings and set them to a 1-to-1 or square mode. That's going to be the most universal image for all platforms. And that way you're not going to have to do a lot of worry about how they're going to look. Like if you take a rectangle isn't going to look well on Poshmark. And even if you add, white borders on the top and bottom, then your image is going to look smaller. It's not going to look great. Any platform that does square images will not look great. Now, having said that, square images will look great on eBay that accepts rectangular images. So we recommend just start there, minimize your work, minimize your hassle, take everything in square mode. It'll look great everywhere.
That's it.
Step 1.
Yeah, that's just crucial. Changing your habits, because phones have many options of how to take these pictures. And what you want to think is only 2 marketplaces. Okay, I think, well, most marketplaces now they take square modes, and they have this optimization process of images that as soon as you upload it the first time into a marketplace, they're already compressing it. They're managing millions of listings. They have to do these. Okay. So when this compression process, sometimes the size, it really matters to showcase your product. Okay. And keep the best option all across multiple channels and not just focusing in one channel. So square mode. Now, Mandy, that would be available then for cameras, for phones, Androids, tablets.
Yep, every modern camera has a square mode setting. So you can do this if you use your iPad. You just set it. You go into your iPad settings and you choose the square mode or 1-to-1.
All right. Now, what's the situation? Oh, go ahead, Teresa.
I was going to say that I got an iPhone 11 last fall, and I have to tell you that one of the things I don't like is that I have to tap to find the square mode. Where the earlier versions, it was one of the options on the scroll bar across the bottom. So if you have an iPhone, and I had to ask somebody at the iPhone store, there's the arrow at the top. So when you're in your picture mode, I'm just going to describe this because
please.
So the arrow at the top on your photo thing, and then it pulls up some different things at the bottom scroll, and you scroll to the 4:3, and then it's the one to the left is square. So it's tap, like 4 taps. So that kind of annoys me, but it is what it is. Like,
so do you do it for every photo session because the phone then forgets about the setting, or what does it happen?
It forgets about the setting if it's too long. So it's not after every picture. But if I leave it, and I don't know, maybe that's a setting I can change. That's a good point. I hadn't thought about that.
Exactly. But, so that would be great to know, so we can share with our audience. That would be something we can share later with the Facebook group. Can you find out about it and let's share about it later with the Facebook group?
Absolutely. I will. I just haven't paid attention to it. It's one of those things.
Now, since you brought that up, Teresa, Amanda, let's talk about let's get a little here. We're providing just information. We're not promoting any brands, but let's talk about taking pictures with mobile devices, because you can upload your pictures with List Perfectly in your mobile device, whether you're taking it with List Perfectly app or you're uploading it to List Perfectly. Now, let me ask you a question. What happens? What's the difference? Okay, so I went into my iPhone. Okay, let's compare. I'm an Android girl. Okay, because I like image quality on Androids. And what happens when I I took the 4 extra steps that Teresa says, right?
Yep.
I take the 4 extra steps, I get my square mode. What happens when I take images with my iPhone versus Android? Is there any difference?
Yeah, so iPhone takes, their image sizes are a lot less, I guess, they're kind of set. So Android, you have more settings, I will say. So you can adjust image sizes. You don't have to take them in the biggest size, but iPhone tends to just default to the largest size. And what I mean by that is you won't notice a difference on your phone when you're taking the picture. It's when you go to upload it. It's just a huge file size, but that's okay, because if you list Perfectly through your phone, what you would do is you just pull up List Perfectly in a browser. You don't need an app to list on List Perfectly with your phone. You just open your browser, navigate to the site, use your login ID, and then right from there, you can create products. Well, there's a button to upload your images. You can either take them from your phone and then upload them, or upload them from your camera library. And at that time, we will deal with, whatever the image size is. You don't have to worry about that.
Exactly. Yeah. And don't, LP is because we're not a marketplace. We're not compressing images. We're not optimizing images. Big difference, okay, with other marketplaces that they have other process. We still have a process, but it's not compressing because we need to make more room for the millions of listings of sellers and so forth. It's a different management of images than the one that marketplaces do. And this is very important to know. Again, when you're thinking multi-channel, right now, the only way you're going to take your shop to the next level is going multi-channel. Tough times are coming. People will shop around, and presenting your product, in a unique way will close the sale. So selling online right now is never been hotter. And then that's it. We're sitting on gold. So let's make sure we get those picture and image management well. So Mandy, so we talk about images that can be uploaded from different devices. We talk about, camera settings. Now, let me ask you a question. From when it comes to upload from different devices, the images, how many images does List Perfectly can handle, and what formats, please?
Okay, so that's a great question. List Perfectly will allow you to upload JPEG, which is the standard image format out there, and .png, which is a lot of times people will get images off the internet, or they'll remove the background. That converts the image into what we call the PNG.
Well said. Removing the background. Anytime you're using those apps that are editing, okay, because you took, we all know we take that crappy picture again, then we go through any of those apps that are right now free, and then you remove the background, it will switch the format of your picture, like Amanda said, JPEG to, and this is a little geeky, but it's important to know. It's important to know because you're going to be managing images, and you want to know which one is going to be in the main image and so forth, and which marketplaces. Is there any marketplace right now that is frowning upon PNG?
No, but I will say this, and this is going to be a little geeky, but you should know. Essentially what you're doing when you're removing a background is you're literally cutting away at it. So the shape of your item is only there. That's the PNG. So when you upload to, let's say, Poshmark, for example, if their default background is black, then you're going to have a black background against your item. If it's eBay, it's going to be white. It's not List Perfectly. It's just the way PNG images are handled on these
I'm so glad you brought that up, because I wanted to go deeper on that.
Yeah.
Does that make sense? Okay, let's see. Was that too geeky, audience? Are we being too geeky?
No, it makes perfect sense. And I mean, I know that we don't like to get too geeky, but sometimes that explanation, like I never knew that. I didn't understand that from PNG. And I think that understanding the difference between PNG and JPEGs in our business is essential. Like we don't have to understand all the stuff, but we need to understand the top layer. So I thank you for that. I didn't know.
Yeah, and one of the things that I really liked when I was a full-time reseller, not all my products were perfect. Sometimes some of them had some blemishes. So one advice that I highly recommend to our sellers is take advantage. We are not charging you extra. You can even fit 30 images per listing, okay, at the moment, okay? But take advantage of that. And if you have anything, take additional pictures when you're shipping it, because people will say, oh, it arrived damaged. And then you want to take pictures that you really wrap it, because then when it gets to an insurance dispute or a claim dispute, these are things that are crucial when you're managing images. Take advantage of that. Have additional pictures. Protect yourself. We know sometimes that none of our products are perfect. Go ahead, Teresa.
So I'm going to give a pro tip because I just started using this. So I have a photographer that takes pictures for me, and then we upload it to Dropbox and do all that stuff. Well, this week is the week that we're starting to list directly to List Perfectly, because I've changed the process and I had to, you know, figure out what it was. But in the photographing process, one of the first pictures she does is she takes a picture of the price tag. And normally it's like, it has the price tag because I need to know how much I paid for it. Then we take the price tag off, and then she takes the picture for the UPC code and everything. And then the last picture is generally the scale. And so a picture of the item on the scale so that so then we know how much it weighs when somebody's listing it.
Yeah.
Well, what happens is when she uploads it to eBay or to whatever, the old process was uploaded to eBay, she wouldn't put those in there. And then sometimes I have a question and I have to go back to the Dropbox. But now with the whole List Perfectly, I tell them upload everything, make sure these pictures are at the bottom, and then they won't grab anything past 12.
Yeah, pro tip. Wow. Pro tip. I'll say that because when we were working full time, we had employees, and something so simple for employees, such as taking measurements in taking the accurate weight of a product. Okay, I don't know what happens, but sometimes you get a T-shirt that is 3 pounds, and you're like, "How did this happen?" So I love your advice, adding the weight, the picture weight. That's just incredible. Pro tip.
Let me tell you who I got that pro tip from.
Yeah.
On Instagram, Teen Thrifter. She's Julia. I think she just had a birthday, but she's like 15 or 16 years old. I was watching a video. I'm like, duh, why am I writing this down? Like,
I know. That's
great tip.
Great tip. And I would suggest the same when you're doing measurements of an expensive product. Anything that goes, guys. What is the PayPal claims? What is it right now? 200, 300, how much? When do you have to get additional insurance now to?
I think $50. It's been a long time since $250.
$250.
That's a signature. I don't know. Don't quote me. I don't know.
But the thing is that usually I take that as a parameter, 250. You know, if your listing is over 250, take extra pictures. Protect yourself. We work so hard to get those products sourcing. It's really hard, you know, and sometimes buyers are a little not careful, you know, and they will pack things back, you know, and not in the same way you send it, and they will return things not in the same way you send it, and you gotta protect yourself. It's time to speak up when you have to speak up. And images, additional images, always wins. We haven't lost a single case in PayPal, not even with eBay, because we always have pictures of everything.
Yeah, and I tell my photographer, I'm like, you have to understand, people don't get to pick. I just picked up this thing of dental floss. They don't get to pick it up and turn it over and see it, like, and what's on the bottom. And so I tell them you have to take the pictures. And a tip that I learned very early on at eBay is, and I've never forgotten it, is you take pictures as if there were no descriptions and describe your items as if there were no pictures.
Yes.
And if you do those two things, you should be pretty well covered.
That is great advice. And so, going back to that pro tip, thank you for sharing, Teresa, because a lot of people think they're missing out. If you're not uploading your images to List Perfectly, you're missing out on all these extras. You know, if you use our catalog management, we give you 30 images that you can store per item. Yeah. And if you move the important images that you want to go on eBay, on Etsy, you move those to the front, but keep everything else last position. And that's for your records. That's for you. Maybe you want to change images later just to refresh your item. Yep. They're all there for you. So that is a tip, and that's included. If you can, I'm going to give
another tip, because when I was reselling full time, one of the things when I transitioned the way I wanted to sell organically, I didn't want to pay promotions, etc. Okay, so I had a photo studio set, okay, for my images with my white backdrop, and then right next to it, I had a social media. It's a total different thing, backdrop, like a you know. So I would have pictures like the tick, tick, right then and there. You can save all those images in the same thing. because you know that we're going to be adding social media eventually. So guys, this is where we're going. Get used to square size. Get used to getting more than just the little pictures that we just 6 pictures or whatever. Yeah, we understand some channels like Depop, right? They accept only 4 images, but that's not the rule of thumb, right?
Right.
So, and even if Depop accept 4 images, have more images.
I thought.
If you have a case, a dispute, you have more images than the little 4 ones that you, and then you have such a leverage to fight that.
Yeah.
And if you have them in your list perfectly, they're right there. There's no hunting through. I mean, I probably have 15 years of pictures saved in my own little personal file system on my computer, only because I have the room. That's why. I mean, if I ran out of disk space, I would get rid of it. But you know, Depop may only have 4 pictures now because it's a smaller growing platform. But maybe in 3 years or something, they change to 12, or they, you know, you just never know.
Yeah, that's right. That's right. And that's what you got to understand as an image manager. When you're cross-posting multi-channels, different marketplaces have different standards for images. Okay. And that's something that we need to talk about. Oh, this is the part that Amanda is, we're going to have more pro tips right now, people. Okay. Amanda, please enlighten us on eBay's requirements, the famous triangle of Etsy. Why?
Yeah,
what is this triangle with Etsy? You know, I don't know if we have people in the audience right now that they're Etsy native Etsy sellers, right? You will see that Etsy is one of the marketplaces that has the highest requirement of resolution. Please enlighten us, Amanda. How does it work? Tell us about it.
All right. So since you brought that up, here is an example. I'm on an Etsy item right now. This is an item that I uploaded. And this one, I believe, came from one of the other sites.
Yeah.
Etsy has the biggest photo sizes that they allow on their platform. And bigger than eBay, bigger than, you know, Poshmark, Mercari, all of them. They say your images will look best if they're at least 2,000 pixels wide, which is quite large. And the reason is they have zoom features on their site. So if your image is starting out at a large size, when you upload to List Perfectly, we put those images in that large size on our server. Now, this will still work if you submit the listing. It's just not going to be able to take full advantage of Etsy's zoom features, just so you know. This is not going to stop you from uploading. But even if you cross post from a site like eBay into Etsy, which has bigger images, you're still not going to get to that 2,000 pixels wide recommendation that Etsy's making, because eBay will take any image uploaded to the site. And this is true of all sites, not just eBay. And they will make them smaller. There are some sites that make them very small, which is Poshmark. Mercari is better now.
Oh, what?
Yes, Mercari has bigger images
heads up,
now.
people.
Heads up. But really,
Thank you for sharing.
Really, any site that operates mainly as an app,
Claro.
which is Poshmark.
Depop.
Yeah, they use very small images. So we do not recommend, you know, listing on those sites first and then cross-posting, because you're not going to be able to take advantage of the image quality.
Yep.
And so we would say, you know, if you can, either you have a few options. You can list first to List Perfectly, of course.
Highly recommended.
That is our #1 recommended option. Or you can list to a site like Etsy and then cross-post, or eBay or something like that.
But try to avoid cross-posting from Poshmark to other channels, because, for example, cross-posting from Poshmark to other channels, you're going to be missing a beautiful feature that is available in Etsy and eBay that really makes the difference. If you're doing that, we highly discourage you to do so, because the zoom that eBay has, every marketplace has their little the pros and cons. So the pro of eBay is the amazing zoom feature that allows,
which
our buyers.
So
there it is.
Yep, this is just, not to interrupt you, but
no,
this is an image. This is a product that was imported from Poshmark. All right, if you can see, that's it. That's the image size. That's as big as it gets.
Okay, that's my square size.
Yes, that's it. Now here's an image that I imported from List Perfectly. And now if you can see on the other side, I get the zoom feature. I do not get it when it's been imported from a site that has smaller images. There's nothing that List Perfectly or anyone else can do about that.
Here, they can see the zipper. Okay, you can see the zipper. You can even see the tag back there.
The interior.
So you can see in the interior. So this is what's gonna help you to get a faster sale, because let's admit it, buyers are lazy. They just want to see there, you know, they want to see the most amount of information, the fastest, and the most relevant information. So enjoying of that feature on eBay, we all know that eBay has the most traffic, and they're taking care of image management as with Etsy in a very, they put a lot of work on that, because they don't believe just on a mobile experience. They believe that shopping online occurs, whether it's going to be mobile or desktop. Okay, so that's a different hypothesis where Poshmark, Mercari, people are coming from.
All right. I was gonna say, here's another option or idea. If you're not a clothing seller, although, you know, you definitely want to be able to zoom in and see what things are. But I was shopping for an electronic this weekend, and I found some on eBay, and I was frustrated because I needed to see the connector. You know, I needed to see the little thing that goes from here. And it wasn't in the picture very well. And so I'm zooming in to try to see if it's at 9 pins. Is it like, what do I need? And so, and it wasn't listed, and I zoomed in, and then I moved on, because it's like, at that point, I didn't want a message, and it wasn't a great price anyway. So, you know, these are the kind of things where shoppers make decisions based on what they can get. And I'm glad that you explained the whole Zoom thing, because I was talking to a seller maybe last week. They did not understand why some pictures you could click and zoom and some you couldn't. So I think that's a great explanation.
Oh, we got a question in YouTube from Melissa Neal. If you change the order of the pictures in List Perfectly, how do you get it to go to the platforms? It doesn't automatically push to the sites that it's listed on?
Not automatically, but it's a very simple process to cross post from List Perfectly. Once you create your listing, think about them as a draft. So every listing that you create on List Perfectly is a draft until you click to cross post it. And then what you would do is you'd cross post it to, let's say, eBay or Etsy or wherever. Our software will take the images that you've put in those first slot positions. So what I mean by that is when you upload your images, you can drag and drop them into the order that you want. So we always recommend put the most important images in the front. So in the first 1 through 8 position, and then leave the rest in the back, and it'll be fine.
All right. Who's that?
That's
okay.
my phone.
Amanda. All right. I'm like, what's going on here? All right. So, okay. So we got that. So but I think what she's talking about, okay, is she's talking about the order of pictures. Okay. How do you get it to go to, how do you get it? For example, let's say that I have a listing already. Okay. And this listing was already published, done. But now I changed my mind. I just drag and drop and change the order of the pictures. How do I push now that update?
Oh, is that a revision question?
I don't know. I'm asking you.
Well, that's a revision question. That's a different topic.
All right.
Yeah.
And how would I do that?
So what you can do on List Perfectly is you can open a window and of the revised listing, and then from List Perfectly, you would just click the List Perfectly button, and anything that you've added to that listing on List Perfectly will just get automatically pushed over to the channel, and then you can review it and click submit.
Okay, perfect.
Does that make sense?
Does that make sense, Melissa? I hope we answer your question. I wanted to cover that from different. Oh, perfect. Yes, okay. It is a revision question. Okay, perfect. And let us know if we need to elaborate a little more on it.
And that's something that I would love to share in another webinar, just so people know. That's a webinar topic.
All right.
Yep.
Okay, I'm getting it on it. Okay. Great topic. Revision. Okay. So let's see. So now what about, so we said 2000 by 2000 is the ideal. ideal image size of Etsy. That doesn't mean you cannot go with a lower size. Okay, you're gonna get the famous triangle, and you still can publish. Okay, nothing's stopping you. But what about eBay, Amanda? We're talking about the beautiful zoom feature and so forth. What is the requirement when it comes to size of eBay?
So there isn't a maximum size on eBay. They will take your images and they will reduce them to 1600 by 1600, but they do require at least a minimum size. And that's true for a lot of sites. You should at least have, I think it's around 550. 500 pixels. Yeah, okay. on the longest side. And you really don't want to go lower than that. Sometimes people grab things like stock photos off of the internet. They're not the right size.
Money.
And they just won't look good. They're optimized for those sites' browsers, for those specific sites. And so just be careful what you get off of the internet.
So just to summarize, with List Perfectly, we're versatile. We're a versatile tool that will allow you to do image management in many different ways, as cross-posting in many different ways. So you can go marketplace to marketplace, or you can go marketplace to List Perfectly. Like we said, if you're gonna go marketplace to, for example, Poshmark to eBay, you're gonna be losing features because the image requirement sizes and optimization of images processes in different marketplaces is different. So now let's talk about, for example, let's see cross-posting from eBay to Etsy. Okay, eBay, we said it's accepting 1600 times 1600, but even going from eBay, if you are not using List Perfectly and you're just cross-posting from marketplace, then if you're going from eBay to Etsy, you will still get the triangles because the quality is inferior of what the ideal, not require, ideal sizes for Etsy. So that's important to say, because we get that question a lot. Why do I get the triangles when I'm going from eBay to Etsy?
And it's important for people to know, just because you're uploading images to List Perfectly doesn't mean they're automatically going to be 2000 by 2000 minimum for Etsy. They have to start that size. So again, if you're taking other pictures off of the internet or your camera settings are too low, just be aware of that.
Perfect. Okay, so we're done. That's it. So now we can open it for questions. All right, audience. Amazing. So we got some questions in YouTube from Melissa. Then let's see, what about here in Zoom? Let's
Zoom. Nothing in Zoom.
Any questions? Anybody? Questions? No? Questions? All right. So this is pretty much, unless you have any questions about image management, we will see you this Thursday, same time, same channel. And thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you. Bye.